Today on Midwest Ghost Hunter's Dark Matter podcast, we review audio from past investigations, and we're also looking at listener email. Welcome to another edition of Midwest Ghost Hunter's Dark Matter podcast. I'm John, Tyler, Dustin, Melissa, and Chris, all here today from Pythian Castle for the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for downloading this episode. As we go through, because we're working on the website, getting it cleaned up a little bit, and some of the pages have been put up there. Some of the new pages from old investigations. We're trying to make it easier to find these things because, like I've said before, the numbering system that I used back whenever I first did that was just idiotic. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. It made sense somehow, but we're taking all that and we're moving it to our main website, one investigation at a time. And as we do, we're kind of going back through some of that evidence that we collected to see if there's anything we missed. Because we've discovered over the past few years of doing this podcast that when we listen to old stuff, it's like, wait a minute. Back that up a little. We're hearing stuff we didn't hear before, probably because we have better, capabilities now than we did then. But we hear lots of new stuff on old audio and video pieces, so we're kind of going through those. We're pulling them into the main website. I've got the Willard House on there. It's at mwghosthunters.com. It's got its own page. The Willard House has the first two investigations where, everything happened. Maybe it was the second and third. I don't remember. It makes sense on there. But you go to mwghosthunters.com. You can click on the Willard House investigation. It's all there. The videos, the audio. And we're also going through some of our older videos that we caught on investigations, too. One of the ones you've heard us talk about, even just last week, I think, it wasn't very long ago, was the time we were in Bolivar at a house up there a long time ago. It was funny, though, kind of off the subject. When I was looking through one of the investigations, I scrolled all the way to the bottom, and it had a date on it, and it was 2007.
Oh, my God.
So
I was still in high school.
So they go back that far. Anyway, getting back on track. One of the ones you heard us talking about was a house we did in Bolivar a long time ago, and it was before John even was with us. Definitely before Melissa or Bobby, but it was just the three of us, me and Dustin and Tyler. And then for this investigation, we borrowed John's cameras to set up just to see what we might get, because we were kind of in the beginning stages of trying to, do this stuff. And we set up a camera and we caught a lot of EVPs and we caught some video too. And this is the video we were talking about last week where we were saying we caught the audio of the voice saying burn in hell. Now, what's important to point out is when we first heard this years ago, we heard burn. When we re-listened to it a couple of years ago, doing the podcast at the radio station, we heard burn in hell. Now that we listen to it, we hear something totally different, even though the audio itself has not changed.
I haven't listened to it again in a long time, since we did it at the radio station.
Well, John tore the audio off the video, and we have it.
I clearly remember in the radio station it saying burn.
I do too.
I
do too. And every time I
don't now.
Every time I listen to this, I'm trying to make my ears hear that, but I can't find it.
So did you already listen to it with these headsets?
No, well, I didn't. I listened at home just through the laptop speaker.
I haven't listened. That's how I was listening at home was through the laptop speaker.
I've never heard it. Okay. So,
but we have that audio today. John got it off the video and pulled it off, and we're going to play it. We're going to see what the hell we hear here wearing these headphones. You want me to go ahead and roll it?
Yeah, go ahead and play it for everybody.
Okay, here we go. Okay. Now, that time I heard burn in hell.
I did not hear burn in hell.
That time I heard it.
I heard burn Jesus.
That time, let me play it again. And
both
there's not going to be...
those are bad, though.
Well, yeah, there's not going to be a right answer.
Equally or bad, but play it again.
All right, here we go. I hear
that
burn...
was one of us that said...
We said some kind of
Jesus.
J sounding.
Let me listen one more time behind that, and because I hear burn in hell plain as day now.
I hear in hell behind whoever said
I think
Jesus.
whenever I was listening, maybe when we were listening through the laptop speakers, it was all becoming one. I think, let me listen here real quick, one more time. Okay, you're right. I think you're right. That is one of us saying Jesus on the back.
Okay, so it could be.
So I still hear the burn in hell intact. Do you hear it, Melissa?
yeah.
Okay, one more time, just so we can point out where.
It doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
And this is off of a video, too. This wasn't off one of the audio.
Qualities.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Right there, it says burn in hell is what I hear now.
See, I can't hear in hell now. I can't hear that.
Hang on, we'll point to you when it comes up.
Listen behind the Jesus.
It's like
you'll hear in hell.
Burn, comma. There's a pause.
Okay.
And then.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Right there. Yep. I hear it now. I did not hear this when I was at home listening on the laptop speaker itself. But
it's probably good to like the context of that, and I can't remember.
Well, the context of that was the three of us were.
You guys went upstairs or somewhere. You left the room.
We left the house. We went outside. We had left the flashlight.
But I hear footsteps and like us talk. So like, are we still in there?
They're leaving.
We're getting ready to go outside at this point. And then once we went outside is when the flashlight came on. This was when we were setting everything up to go outside. Is when the burn in hell come up.
Which house was this?
Bolivar, the macaroni.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, it was the macaroni house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
For some reason I thought this was Willard.
No, this is Willard. I mean,
Willard
this is
was
Bolivar.
pterodactyl.
The macaroni may have been
I
the
remember
most
the pterodactyl.
normal thing about that house.
Remember how there was incense burners sticking in the walls everywhere?
Yeah.
Remember the owl shit in the closet upstairs?
Yeah, and the flies. We turned the light on.
Hundreds of flies.
We turned the light on and didn't realize the ceiling was absolutely coated in flies.
I would have left. I don't know why y'all stayed and did that.
Well,
I would have walked in, turned around, and just...
we didn't see the flies till later.
No, any of it. I just would have left. Nope. Mm-mm.
So while John was going through that video, he did find a couple of other possible
things that I had completely missed.
Anomalies.
Completely missed.
That haven't been thoroughly, I mean, we'll go ahead and play them here.
Here's the only bad thing about going way back like this, and I like it. I like doing it. We should keep doing that. But I can't remember any of that. It's been so long ago. Like, I can't remember specifics. You know what I mean? Like, if we did an investigation 2 weeks ago, like...
If you were to look at the webpage, you would remember it because there's pictures of everything. There's pictures of the kitchen where the kids' papers were strewn.
No, I remember that. I'm just saying, like, when I listen to these EVPs and there's, like, a little, like, piece of it, I'm like, okay, where was I walking? Like, what was I doing? Like,
oh, yeah, you can't remember that. There's no way, yeah.
That's why we need body cams.
What is that noise I keep hearing? Is that...
That's a chair squeaking.
Oh, okay.
I better wiggle.
Okay, let me go ahead and play these other two that we pulled, or when I say we, that John pulled off of that video, and just kind of see what we think here. I hear what could be a whisper there, but I also hear us, and I can't determine the difference.
I didn't know.
I can't determine the difference on that one. So yeah, I can't be sure on that, but it's good to go through these videos and pull out things that could be, because I guarantee there's going to be things in a lot of these that we have missed along the way. So we're working on that process. And if you do want to kind of look through and see what we've got so far, it's at mwghosthunters.com. You can see right now all we've got, it seems to be the one we get asked about the most, other than Pythian Castle, is the Willard house that we did. Those are up there and you can see those now. And we're slowly going back through and putting them up one by one. So we have, we were talking about listener email, in the beginning there, going through a few of those. We get a lot of emails. We don't read them all because a lot of them are just looking for investigations. But the locations,
we read them, but we don't read them.
Well, I'm saying we don't read them on the podcast. Yeah, we read them all. We don't read them here.
Wanted to clarify that point there.
Yeah. Oh, trash.
We do read them.
Trash. You don't need that. No, we read them all, but we don't read them here hardly ever. But it's interesting to look at some of the locations they come from. We got one from Rockford, Illinois, 29 Palms, California, Wellington, New Zealand. I don't even know where that is.
It's in New Zealand.
It's in New Zealand.
Is it New Zealand? Damn. That makes sense. Denton, Texas, Edmonton, Canada, Edinburgh, which is in the UK. So I did pull out 3 emails that I did briefly respond to, but I thought we could address here a little bit more in depth if we wanted to. The first one is from, I think you say it, Deja, in West Memphis, Arkansas. And it says her daughter just moved into a new house and handprints on the bedroom mirror won't go away. She keeps cleaning them, has no kids. Do they need an investigation? Anyone?
My first thought would be, did the mirror come with the home? Was it like one of those homes that stuff just left? Is it a mirror that they've always had?
There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. It's very short.
I
was going to say, how old's the kid?
They don't have a kid.
Oh.
Yeah, no kids.
Well, who's living in the room? I thought it was like her daughter or something. You said.
The lady who sent this has an adult daughter who moved into a house.
Adult daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's what you do. You run down to the Dollar Tree, pick yourself up a mirror, replace it, see if the same thing happens.
There you go.
We're gonna have
If
to
it
get you a new
does.
chair.
That chair, man.
Is it mine?
That sounds like
It's your chair.
it sounds like the honeymoon suite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
every time you move, like even slightly.
Yeah.
I saw
It's
John.
just the back of the chair.
The whole time you were
So I
talking,
can't
John
lean
was looking at
back.
your chair.
I have to
Like, what's going on?
So that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
That's a good idea.
Put in a new mirror.
Swap the mirror and see if that takes care
happens.
of it.
Okay, let's go to Bradenton, Florida. Can a spirit haunt an open area like a forested part of a backyard? I've seen and heard figures out there at dusk and daylight.
I don't know. I assume so.
I think. I mean, what's the difference between that and a cemetery? I don't know.
We have talked about, many people have said, hey, I want to know where that place, the Willard House, people have wanted to go to that open field area.
I would like to go to that.
Chris and I have talked about that.
Yeah.
Would there still be something there? I would think so.
I thought so too, because we've tried. I tried forever to find it, and I found where it is, and there's nothing there.
No,
so it would be interesting.
That's the rules, though, is that
once the house is gone, they depart.
Yeah, when ghosts go outside, they get blown away by the wind. They have to stay inside indoors.
That's where the stereotypical noise comes from.
I would say that you can because you've heard stories of haunted woods and
well,
things
one of my
that
favorite
nature.
shows is called These Woods Are Haunted. Have you seen that one? Or there's one called I can't even remember the name of the other one. And we've been to a cemetery, and that's outside. Hell, I don't see what the difference would be.
Battlefields, like Gettysburg.
True. Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
if somebody
Wilson's
died
Creek
there,
here in
whatever.
Springfield supposedly is. They're supposedly.
So I guess our answer to that would be maybe. Probably. I don't see why it couldn't. Let's go to Eureka, Missouri. This one is similar to the last one. Where we live, there are a lot of car accidents off the interstate. Is it possible some of those spirits could wander into our house, which is about 400 feet away? My husband has seen a person in the basement who looks like they've either been in a car accident or hit by a car, and we're the ones who built this house. What was that?
I'd be selling that house.
What was that sound?
What sound?
I didn't hear it.
Okay.
I didn't hear a sound either.
Okay.
I was listening to your email. It was terrifying.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad.
I picture the guy from Pet Cemetery, the jogger.
Yeah. That's a good thing to picture.
It's not a good thing to picture.
That's a good.
But I don't know why that wouldn't
Matches.
be. I don't know why that wouldn't be possible. I mean, if the rest of this is possible, why wouldn't it be?
Then you get into Dustin's rules of being a ghost. If you got hit on the road, are you allowed to go 400 feet to shelter?
What are the rules?
I don't know.
There's a predetermined square area footage.
Well, and because you've heard them talk about, if you keep the gates open at the cemetery, the spirits can get out. And that doesn't. I mean, can't they go over it?
That
through
used
it?
to be so like that. That was like one of the main jobs of people that would stay and like watch over these cemeteries.
Yeah.
Like the groundskeepers.
Make sure all the gates are closed. Keep everybody in. It's weird to get these questions and us try to answer them because there's really no. I mean, if you've seen it in your basement, then I would say it probably happened.
Possible.
I mean,
would
It's
say
possible,
possible,
or maybe they were so freaked out at. They were coming home and they saw something.
Well, here's my deal. I mean, even if you saw someone in the basement, it looks like they've been hit by a car. I mean, who cares where they came from? If it came from the interstate, there's something dead in your house.
Well, if it's been hit by a car, it's not very mobile, so you should just be able to, walk away at a brisk pace.
True. I don't know.
But again, what are the rules? Does a
don't
ghost
know.
suffer the same physical disability as their bodily counterpart?
Well, you've heard of ghosts, that have a limp.
I don't.
It's because the old caretaker had a limp, and now the ghost has a limp.
I wonder
we've heard that in the basement, like someone walk and then like drag a leg behind them. We've heard that in the basement before. So, and we had a lot during the military years. There were a lot of amputees.
I don't like the walk, drag a leg behind sound. That's not a good sound.
How else to explain it.
I know exactly what you mean. I can picture it.
Yeah, I can too.
But I mean, there were amputees here during the military years. So I mean, maybe that kind of stuff.
I think it was Bart Simpson that asked Homer if I get my leg cut off and when I die, is my leg waiting for me in heaven? Which would answer a lot of questions, but I don't know. I mean, my thoughts are if you've seen someone in the basement who looks like they've been hit by a car, I would spend less time worrying about where they came from
and more time getting out of there.
and more time trying to find a new place. Yeah.
I'd be putting the sign in that yard.
In that case, yes, I think these people would definitely want some kind of investigation. I mean, it's hard for a pile of clothes in the basement, at night. Sometimes stuff like that, you get that pareidolia, and you can make it look like a person. But if you're seeing, it looks like a person who's been hit by a car, that's not going to be a pile of clothes. Well, that's the 3 emails that I brought in. I know we were going to talk a little bit about, we can talk about whatever, but we do have investigations that are coming up. One we won't talk about yet, because we're still working on that. But we have one house in Fair Grove. I think we're going to do that probably in 2 weeks. She has a lot of claims coming out of there, and she's the one that we talked about that has the activity that's followed her from one house to the next, and says this is a pretty big house. So, it's going to be, I don't think it's necessarily, mansion size, but it's a fairly good sized house. And she's had activity follow her over the years, ever since she was a little kid, she said. So we'll see what we get there. A lot of claims in there, shadow figures, voices, things moving, the typical, combo number 2 that we get kind of stuff. So we'll check that out coming up in October 8th or so. We also talked about, I don't know, we've got a bunch of them floating around out there. We also talked about at some point going back to Ashley's house because she's got it completely remodeled and redone on the inside. She sent pictures. It doesn't even look the same. It doesn't even look, because I had to say, where is this? She's like, oh, well, that's the living room where you guys were, where we had the TV. I was like, that doesn't even look like it. So she's done a lot of renovations and continues to do renovations, and I thought it would be good to go back out there. You've never been.
I've never been.
And every time we've been, we've caught stuff.
I want to hear the snaps.
The snaps are the least of it, honestly.
Yeah, snaps.
I know, but there were snaps here.
True.
Remember? You guys were talking about it, and then snaps happened here.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
The snapping thing.
I heard that. It sounded like,
Yeah.
I heard it.
Yeah. I heard that too.
And just for all the listeners wondering, no one else is here.
we're
And
the
when
only
I got
people. Yeah.
here,
There are
and
no dogs,
you guys
nothing.
weren't in here at the time, and you messaged and said we're in the basement, and that surprised me because I would have bet money you were upstairs because I heard footsteps upstairs.
Yeah.
I heard and it was like quick little, like the pitter patter of a child.
So when we first got here, Melissa had me and John go into the basement to look at a part of the castle that's never been opened up before, that's now opened up, just to see it. And we did. And Dustin arrived while we were down there, and he stayed on the mid-level, and he heard walking around upstairs. Now, typically when we come on a Sunday, we're all in here, and sometimes Tamara's here, the owner of the castle. She'll be here, upstairs, downstairs, wherever, doing various, things, caretaker things for the castle. But she's not here today. It's just us. So there would have been no one upstairs. There's not even any dogs here this time.
See, and the weird thing is, whenever I got here, I usually get here usually half an hour, 45 minutes before everybody else does, just to set up all of the podcast stuff. I came in, set up in this area where we're at right now to set up, was in the middle of setting stuff up, and I heard someone walking in the fireplace room. And, that's a wooden floor over there, very pronounced. You can hear someone walking on it. So I start having a conversation with who I believe is Melissa. And because Melissa was going to be here shortly
Had
after.
a conversation.
One-sided.
He started the conversation.
One-sided.
You talked to one of these
No.
things?
I said, hey, Melissa. Blah,
Her
blah,
voice
blah, blah,
was real
blah.
deep today.
And Melissa didn't answer me, and so I just go in there and look around. And there's nobody in there.
Yeah.
There was no one there.
So while we were downstairs, we did set up, John took some recorders down and did set them up down in that new area down in the basement that's opened up now. Because when we did our investigation here last January, that area was just walled off, right? You couldn't even, there was
you
nothing.
couldn't even see it.
So now it's open. I'm not going to say open like to the public, but it's open where you can get in there. And we went in there, and the windows all have bars on them, which is kind of unique down there. Is there another room down there that has those?
Just the POW cells.
The creepy guy's room, is that one of the POWs?
I don't think so. But I don't think a person could fit through that little window anyway.
Right, but creepy guy's got him on his.
Yeah, I don't.
Who's creepy guy?
The guy that'll cuss at you. The room that people feel like
All the way upstairs?
No.
down in the basement.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. The one that's the mad guy.
The mad guy.
Yeah. So anyway, it was kind of cool to see that part open up. I don't know what that room used to be used for, but it does have
Didn't you guys hear a voice though?
downstairs. Yeah, we sure
Yeah.
did. And
it sounded to me like the voice we've heard on this podcast before. The guy that says, "Hey."
Yeah, that's all I heard was a hey, and I dismissed it at first because I told you I was like maybe that was just dogs, but they're not here, so I don't know. I don't know. I mean, there's a recorder down there, so we'll see if there's anything on there. But it was kind of cool to see that part opened up down there. I didn't know there was more shit to open up here, but that part's opened up now. It's kind of cool to see with the bars on the window. Okay, the investigations, we were talking about those. So we were talking about the house in Fairgrove. We're going to do that in 2 weeks on the 8th, and then we've got we'd like to go back to Ashley's house. She said anytime, we could go right now if we want. Anytime we want to go, we can go over there. And then we've got a couple other things that we're working on too that we won't really talk about yet because they're not concrete set in stone yet, but we're working on those. It'd be super cool if we can, at least get one of those to happen. So that's kind of what we got going on here in the near future. And but also another thing I would like to do a lot is we could test this outdoor theory again. We haven't been to, I almost said it, we haven't been to that cemetery in forever. And we've talked about it since June.
I think we were waiting for the summer bugs.
We were, and aren't they? Aren't they gone?
I mean,
yeah, it's still 94 degrees out, but
it's got to be getting close. We had that one cold day. Maybe a lot of them died.
I think any time now we could go back. We could go back down there. They're all gone.
I hope so.
They can't hear you anymore. But we could go down to that cemetery again.
That's the only outdoor investigation that you guys have ever done. I've never done an outdoor investigation.
No, that's the only one we've done. We turned one down. Or no, we didn't turn one down. We had one we were going to do at a, I can't remember if it was out. If it was in Marshfield, it was that damn chair again. If it was in Marshfield, if it was in Marshfield or somewhere, but there's somewhere up there where the person called and there's like an old barn out on their property. And the barn had been used for satanic rituals.
Okay.
Or what's more likely is kids went out and painted satanic signs on the inside of it. But, anyway, they say that there's, they call it like the witches something. I don't even know. But anyway, I wanted to go to it. They contacted us and I was like, yeah, we'll go do that. That would be interesting to go outside. It was like November. It'd be a perfect time to go do that. And then they just never contacted me again. They just went away. Maybe they moved. I have no idea. Maybe they got Blair Witched.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe one's still standing in a corner in there.
I don't know what happened, but they never contacted back. I contacted many times after that, trying to set up a date, and they never responded back. So they either changed their mind or realized that, oh, wait a minute, maybe kids just painted all this shit and this is nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, you walk up in the middle of the woods and see that was my stupid energy drink. You see a sign painted on a tree, and your mind immediately goes to satanic rituals.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many satanic rituals happen under bridges in small towns.
Did
I heard that?
Hear that
yes,
growl?
I did. Yeah, was that what it was?
Yeah,
I heard something. I didn't know it was.
He has his headphones off, and I didn't.
I have one ear out. I heard something. He's on guard.
I will say the energy in the building has been a little funky this week. I messaged all these guys.
What night was that? Tuesday?
It was Tuesday. I came in from my tour and I got here a little early and I was folding t-shirts kind of in our little check-in area. And I don't know how else to describe it, but like a whoosh type of sound, but it's like something came down the stairs and went right past me, and it was enough to make me jump and say, what the fuck was that? Nobody else is in the building, but it was enough to make me jump. And then I was standing and I was doing some more stuff, and it sounded like a door slammed in the back of the building, and Tamara was at the front gate, so nobody else is here. And then it felt like someone had a hand on my lower back.
Which I've experienced in here. Where were you?
By the desk.
Okay.
And I just stood still for a minute, and then it just kind of went away.
Yeah, the only time I've ever felt that was here. The only time. In all these places we've been, the only time I've ever felt like something actually made contact with me was sitting right here in this chair.
The phalanges.
And there was no mistaking it either. So I've had that. I've had that.
That happened to me in Willard, and
yes,
and I will tell you that when that happens, it's a reaction and a half.
It was hilarious putting that back because I was revisiting all that, putting it on the website, and I found that was one of them that I got to put back up there. So I got to relive that. Yeah, it was. That would be a good one. That would be a good spot to listen to. Is right there.
It really would. I never thought about that.
All we have that audio piece up there, and we even say on the old website, we say the only reason we put this up here is so you can hear the reaction. But I bet there's something on there before the reaction too. We need to listen to it and see.
Do we still have the full raw audio, the whole thing?
I doubt it.
Of what?
Of those investigations?
No. Long gone. Those recorders don't even exist anymore.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Well, see, what I do for all of them now is I drag every bit of audio anywhere we go. I'll create folders that have them, and I store all of the master audio.
And that's kind of what I've
like
been.
hard drives?
Yeah, and I've saved all that because when we do the podcast, I pull all that over.
And how many gigabytes of?
Oh my God,
It's terabytes.
just what I have.
Terabytes.
It literally is. It's
Just
terabytes.
what I have, which is probably 1/100th of all of it, is a ton. Because I've been going through it because I'm giving Pythian Castle its own page, and anything we've caught from in here, I'm putting on there.
Should set up a server, and we need to like archive all that, just in case one of those hard drives ever fails.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Really should, because it's, if something happens and those hard drives don't power back up,
Yeah.
it's we're going to be scanning for the hard drives.
Shit.
What?
He means the hard drives will be dead.
I always come back in and I would always tell Chris, I'd say, hey, I'm going to go out and do whatever it was I was going to go out and do. Let's hope you boys aren't scanning for me tonight.
But to go back here real quick, I was going to ask Melissa, and I asked you on the text, and I can't remember the answer. Did anything significant happen? Because you had a private investigation that same night, didn't you?
During the private, nothing happened on the tour, but during the private investigation, I was showing them a couple of places that we don't take the normal tours, and we heard 2 whistles, and then we came back down to the ballroom, and we saw a shadow walk through the ballroom.
Did they have any equipment like video cameras, or did they just carry EMF detectors?
Oh, no, they had all kinds of stuff, but it wasn't set up yet.
And these people, by the way, it's so bizarre where these people come from, but they're on like a cross-country trip, like going to different haunted locations, and that's all they're doing.
They had just come from the Sally House before they came.
What group? Well, I guess
They're not a group. They're
just five.
they're people.
They're just five people.
I thought it might be like an organized like tour thing.
Are they
Somebody
older
does.
people, like retired, or?
Probably our age, middle aged.
Well, you guys are middle aged.
You're older. Mr. 1030's too late for me to stay up.
10:30 is late, man. By 10:15, my head's falling over. But yeah, I just thought it was weird. She said this group of people are going like apparently like coast to coast, or at least they're hitting the big spots in the Midwest of haunted locations. That would be cool to do.
They had every gizmo gadget imaginable.
So they must be a group. It'd be like a paranormal group.
I didn't ask.
Yeah, you'd almost have to be to have that much equipment. So how long did they investigate for?
Till 3:30.
Oh wow!
I didn't stay with them. I just showed them the other spots that the tour didn't go on.
Do they show you if they caught anything? Do they say, hey,
They
here's...
said they'd email it.
Oh, okay. Well, that'd be
We'll
interesting to see if they caught anything.
That'd be cool.
But the shadow walking through the ballroom was.
Did you see that?
I did.
Oh.
So it's like
See,
an
now that-
actual like defined like shadow.
Yeah,
It just looked like someone walking through.
I still don't clearly know what are we calling the ballroom? Is that...
Ballroom, dining room.
Okay, that dining room, we continued hearing
We did that. Was some of the stuff that we caught.
over and over and over, a voice in there every time we would pass through it. We didn't set up anything in there.
It is a little weird in here today because we have the doors open.
Oh, that's true.
So I'm kind of.
And I keep hearing the floor settling out there too.
I don't like having my flank exposed. Just a dark hallway behind me this whole time.
His back is to the dark hallway.
Dustin's gonna get his flank grabbed.
I'll probably close that door.
Yeah, we can close that if we want to.
For some reason here, I always see the dark shadows. I don't know what that says about me as a person.
Well,
But like some of the other guys will see, like Cindy, she will see like in this front window, she saw a lady like dressed in white. She's like, haven't you seen the lady in white? I'm like, nope.
that's something I've never seen
I just
never
see all the
seen that
dark.
here
I
either.
just see all the dark
anywhere.
things there.
We've heard a lot of claims in different places of a lady in white, but I've never got to see one.
And as far as apparitions that I've actually seen with my own eyes, other than the tunnel downstairs, in all of the years we've done this, that's the only one that I've ever seen.
Me too. Except for unless you count at the bridal place in Buffalo, it looked like 2 legs crossed in front of the red light, walking in front of it. I mean, I just saw the absence of light for a couple of seconds.
Okay, I've seen that. I've seen the absence of light in there, but I'm talking about where
full-
you could look down
no.
and see a full body.
Closest thing we've seen besides what we saw in the basement here are the shadow. Like the shadow person we
Right.
caught at the Willard, not
Or
the
the
Willard.
the shadow person that that Andrew caught.
Yeah,
in
the
Buffalo.
picture.
That was
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
If you're here long enough, you'll see them.
Well, we're hoping to come back here in November to do another investigation. It'd be nice to come here when the tunnel's not 40 below zero. Spend a little more time down there, maybe.
It was cold.
Yeah, it was freezing cold.
It really was.
But we are going to come back here in November, so that's another one we can throw in there.
I just heard something right there.
Where?
Right there. It sounded like another like weird growl sound.
Yeah, I heard that
Behind
too.
you?
I didn't hear it.
No.
No, it was kind of a. It was kind of a.
Better cover your flank.
I hope not. down that dark hallway there.
There's a little bit of light down there.
You remember at Ashley's
Oh,
house?
Jesus, John, I didn't know that was you. Oh, my Lord.
He got freaked
About what? About me laughing?
You're...
Your voice got
What
real
was
high.
that?
That was
was
me
what?
laughing. Oh, that wasn't me.
That was not me.
I
Did
didn't
you
hear
hear
it.
it?
I didn't hear
I didn't hear it.
it. I heard a car.
There was a.
No, that's exactly what... Are you sure it wasn't you doing that exact thing?
I'm positive
He was
it wasn't.
talking.
I was talking.
But what happened at Ashley's house?
When we were there, we set up the video recorder and stuff, and Dustin's sitting there on the couch and everything, and Chris and I were like, "Did you see that? Yeah, I did."
Oh, something popped up behind him.
yeah, we saw like a shadow
Yeah.
figure behind it, and Dustin's like, "Well, let's check it out."
Is someone going to come take a look, or I just need to sit here?
Because nobody moved. Nobody got up to move.
She's like, well, that was weird. There was a strange apparition about an inch behind Dustin.
Yeah, that was so weird. And look at his eyes get so big. Well, are we gonna check it out? What are we gonna do?
That was also where he got pissed off at me because he was talking. And I was like, Dustin, where's your microphone? He's like, Jesus Christ, are we here to do an investigation or a podcast? I laughed so hard.
I don't remember that.
Yep. So it's kind of the way we do. Yeah. Did you hear it?
Yeah, that
I
was
heard
the
it
old
too.
man.
No, that what it sound like?
I don't.
I said.
Was it you?
I said yeah.
Oh, it may have been you then. Okay.
maybe.
The way we used to do our investigations are we would do a live podcast while we were there.
Melissa's just ominously looking
So
down
jumpy today.
We
the
would
dark hallway again.
we would do our podcast while we were on site. Now we've kind of decided that in order to put better focus on the investigation itself, it seems to work better doing it the old way, where we focus on the investigation and then we come here and kind of give you a synopsis of what we caught and the experiences that we had. It's a much quicker way to get to the point than having you listen through
I was
hours,
trying to play footsie with John.
hours
Sorry.
and hours of us investigating. And because it's really much quicker for us to go through and pull it all out and then play it for you. But we used to do our podcast during the investigations. Now we're probably going to go back to just doing investigations, then bringing that information to the podcast. Seems to work better. And it's going to be more compelling than sitting and listening to hours and hours and hours of us being jackasses and
you
making
don't
fun
hear
of each
anything.
other.
Yeah.
You don't hear anything for a long time because investigations can take a while. But we do have several coming up. We'll do the house in Fair Grove probably on the 8th. We're going to try to get back to Pythian Castle here at the beginning of November. And then we've got another big one that we're working on. We'll see if we can get that to happen in October. And then I would love to go back to the cemetery when we can. If we wait too long, we're going to be wading through leaves.
And it's going to be cold.
Well, yes, it will be. It'll be colder.
Yeah, we got to do it soon. Actually,
So-
so that sweet spot, the post-summer bug pre-leaf sweet spot.
Yeah, so we'll get back down there and do that too. But we're definitely. I'm going to go ahead and book the one for the 8th at the house because I think that's going to be a good one. There should be. She says there's stuff happens there all day long, during the day even. So we'll check it out here coming up in a couple of weeks too.
And we'll be back soon with another episode of Midwest Ghost Hunters Dark Matter Podcast.